We are down to 4 teams remaining in this year's World Cup. It feels like it has been a whirlwind this entire time. Our soccer expert here at the Sports Geek, JackChat, is going to help us discuss and preview these semifinal games. I first just got to ask you, again, we're down to 4 teams. How insane has this tournament been just for you? And then we come down to basically the 4 best teams as the ones that are remaining.
Yeah, I honestly, where's the last month gone? Like, where it's 100 games passed already, and I've watched pretty much all of them. I can't remember anything that's gone on now. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a month, and I must say, it's lived up to the expectations. There's been a little bit of controversy in the last week or so, but all in all, it's been a great World Cup. I think you'd have to agree with that. It coming down to the 4 best teams in the world in terms of FIFA rankings. Unheard of, quite unusual. I don't know whether that's because the tournament expanded and we've had some lower ranked teams in there, as much as that's made it more inclusive and a more enjoyable World Cup. Personally, I'm even hearing Infantino saying we might expand it to 64, and I'm like, it's been a fun ride. Why not? But yeah, whether that's now kind of in turn meant the best rise to the top, maybe. There's no underdogs in the final 4. But I'm an England fan, and I'm happy.
That being said, that there not being any underdogs, the one team that has felt like the favorite, like the truly dominant team this entire time that we've talked about multiple times, is France. Right now, they're favored at -152 against Spain, who is the underdog at +132. Do you see France as that inevitable favorite, or has, since things have transpired over the past week with tighter matches and more competition, do you think that somebody else might sneak up on this France team?
It's really hard to say, isn't it? When every time they play at the moment, even when they are tested just a little bit, Morocco, I'd say a very strong team. They were missing Saibari up top, and we all knew they probably weren't going to be scoring goals against France. But I thought they'd hold up a bit better defensively. But France absolutely dominated them. And yeah, looking forward to Spain. Spain technically have the best defense in the tournament. Whether that's because they haven't been tested, they played Belgium. I think that's a fair enough test. If anyone's going to do this France team, it would be Spain. I think, personally, Spain have their number. I know how dominant France look. Can the best defense in the tournament stop the best attack in the tournament? Well, they're not exactly the best attack in the tournament. Argentina have scored more goals. However, I think France's tests have been a bit harder than Argentina's. I think Spain could do it. In the Nations League, Spain beat them 5-4. So if we get a game like that, I'm all for it as a neutral. That would be some entertainment. I think if it was, say, England or Argentina playing France in the semi-final rather than Spain, I wouldn't be as confident. But I think if anyone could do it, I think Spain could, because that back 4, Laporte has been fantastic in, showing that he still has it. I can't believe it at his age, and he's moved away and he's still dominating that back line with Kibasi and with Cucurella and with Porro at the back. A very strange makeshift back 4 for Spain, but it's working massively. So, yeah, I love the balance. And I do think if there's any team that's going to stifle France, if there's any team that's going to make it difficult for that France team to get in behind, to make those runs that Elise has been like threading through to Mbappe, I actually do think it could be this Spain team. So I'm quite confident for that. I'm excited for that game tomorrow.
You alluded to it. If Spain were to win, what do you think it would take for them to pull it off?
Interestingly, Spain have gone for we're going to be ultra solid in defense. And I think when you have a Rodri sitting in front of that back 4, it helps massively. The Ballon d'Or winner, he's incredible. I think what it comes down to is a little trick that Arteta has been playing with Arsenal all season. And it's very strong in defense, hold out defensively as a unit with almost like 6 defensive players playing to stifle these teams. And then the little smash and grab at the end, I would call it, from Merino. Bring on a Mikel Merino, 6'2", just loves getting to the ball at the right time, box crashing. They bring him on at striker. It's what Arteta was doing all season, and it works. It's so weird. And I think that's something that you could say Mateta is the equivalent to in the France team, but you're never really going to play a Mateta when you have that front four. And I think that's the one thing Spain do have over France, and it's almost like what Argentina or England would have as well. They are interchangeable, whereas this France team feel like you don't want to swap that front line out. Those are the best players, and even if it's not working, you don't really want to sub them because they could create that chance. And so I think for this Spain team, they'll keep chopping and changing as the game goes on. And if Spain can hold out to those final minutes and then bring a Mikel Merino on for that header or for that box crash where he just appears out of nowhere, like he has done against Belgium, like he has done in the game previously, I think that's the way Spain win it, personally, if they have a chance, that is, if they can hold out.
The one thing that always sucks when you have a lot of really fun games in any sport is when one of the teams gets favorable officiating. Now, Argentina had an unbelievable comeback against Egypt, which was awesome. And then there's the whole red card debacle against Switzerland. All of the commentary in the US, all they were doing the entire time on the broadcast when that went down, like the whole rest of the match, that was all that they were talking about, is what that means for the accomplishment of this Argentina team, and everybody being annoyed and complaining about all this favorable officiating. And heck, I even remember back to one of the early videos that you and I recorded during this tournament was they were getting a lot of calls going their way. Do you agree with the discourse that things have been really favorable for them, or do you think it's been a little overblown?
I think the thing is with Argentina, they're quite clearly in controversy every single match, which is not a place you want to find themselves. You want to find yourself as, the hosts, as the previous tournament winners and as the people receiving all these accusations, because there's no smoke without fire, so to speak. And as much as a lot of the decisions we're seeing, you can go back and you can say, well, these are the rules, and the referee is actually just applying the correct rules here. In my personal opinion, a lot of what I'm watching is, yes, the rules are being applied here. This should stand. Argentina were right to have that. However, it's almost as if the referee somewhat on occasions will turn a blind eye to the rules being applied the other way. And I think it's the inconsistency that people are frustrated with, because we're not saying Argentina are cheating. It's just the stats don't lie. I think they have had every single VAR decision in their favor. Nothing has gone against them yet. That's a little bit questionable in a competition like this, in a competition where everything's being recorded, in a competition where there's already a lot of pressure on them. And, they must... It's hard to understand, because the referees and FIFA themselves must be hearing the noise, and all it would take would be a bit more transparency or a little bit more, for example, in the Egypt game, there was a lot of frustration growing. There was a lot of drama on the sidelines. The manager was calling the racism card. Whether that should have been applied, it might have been an over-exaggeration at the time, but for him to just dismiss him completely in that situation, it felt like, well, what's the point in having that if it's just going to be dismissed? And the game carried on, and then Argentina scored their winner. It's all very confusing. And the same, again, in the Switzerland game, it was the right call. It was overturned, and it was the right call, but everything felt like, why aren't the same rules being applied to Argentina? There just feels like a little bit of inconsistency. And I understand a lot of people probably think this is a Messi, Ronaldo thing. It's not at all. It's a FIFA wanting to make money thing. And the further Argentina go, the truth is, the more money they can make out of the situation. Because look, what the proposed game is now England v Argentina. Huge history, huge game. You can sell it better. So I'm a little bit on the fence of it. I would like to be as unbiased as I can, but it is hard to watch games when you're like, well, 2 minutes ago, that that wasn't given, but now it's being given. It's just the inconsistency. But the game to watch now, it's going to be incredibly well poised, is England Argentina. And if we see it in that, like everyone's expecting, then wow, we're in for a bit of a meltdown next week, I think.
Oh my God. Yeah. Especially if there's another call that ends up popping up that everybody gets up in arms about. I'm sure that is going to create quite the reaction this week, next week, whatever ends up happening with Argentina. England on the other side of this, though, interestingly, that you played a pretty good game against Norway. It's your home country, who you're rooting for. You're excited. At least just good enough to win. But you have England's coach coming out criticizing, saying that they played really sloppy. You have Bellingham responding to him, downplaying the commentary of his coach because they were able to win despite the way that the game transpired. Do you think that they played sloppy? And do you think that this interaction between a star and a coach, do you think that maybe creates some sort of a potential distraction?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is classic British media turning the team against each other. It happens every single time. And I completely agree with Thomas Tuchel. England are yet to play well, I think, personally. They've been where at the start of the tournament, I said, I think Thomas Tuchel's trying to build this unit, which I've seen at Chelsea before, where he took potentially not the best set of players in the world, but turned them into the best unit in the world. And he's tried to do that with England, but it still hasn't quite got going yet. And so Tuchel's comments were completely valid, I think. And I think of all of this, with Bellingham's reaction, which is completely natural as well, they pulled it out the hat again. They pulled it out the bag, managed to get the win. It was a sloppy win. It was a difficult win, which is what we've seen from England throughout the tournament. But I hope, personally, we see Thomas Tuchel take Bellingham aside, show them both of the clips, because you can do that. You can show what the interviewer was questioning Tuchel and then what he was asking with Bellingham as well, and show Bellingham that this is the media trying to turn us against each other. And I think in the long run, that probably would benefit the England team to show this is a unit. Let's work together through this and win the competition. That being said, I think England have a lot to do, in terms of the prospect of Argentina. If it does click and England do get going like Tuchel wants them to, because he wants those repetitions. Madueke was left on the right-hand side throughout that Norway game on his own, and there wasn't enough balls going out to him. There wasn't enough repetition. There wasn't enough closing down. Some players had some great games, but others weren't working as a unit. So I completely understand Tuchel's words. But against an Argentina, it's a scrappy team. I think England could probably have another moments game. However, if it came to a Spain or a France in a final, should they get there, they really would need this Tuchel machine to click, because I don't think you can rely on moments as much against the best of the best. That being said, it's a knockout competition and you just never know.
Right. And hopefully they don't play sloppy again, because if they do lock in, it seems like that should set up for some success. That being said, let's dig into some just picks here to close things out for who you think is going to win each match. Let's start with France very quickly. As I mentioned earlier, France is the favorite at -152. You can get Spain at +132. Are you sticking with France to win and to advance?
This is knockout football now. This is very interesting. I'm going to say the game is way tighter than we imagine. I think France have enough to go up. But I think, like I say, I'm smelling a little Mikel Merino equalizer, and they bring this all the way to penalties, and I think it's a lot closer than we might expect. Do I think France will progress? They should progress. They really should. But I have a little sneaky feeling Spain might steal it on extra time or penalties right at the very end. Maybe that's my heart hoping it. Maybe that's not my head. But it's so tight. Like I said, the best attack in the competition versus the best defense, that is really hard to tell. But if the Nations League, which was only 9 months ago, could tell us anything, it's going to be a fantastic game. But Spain did have an edge in that game. And I think Spain might just bring it to extra time and take it. I'm gonna bet against France there.
Well, I'm sure the bettors are excited to hear that. There's a potential upset opportunity here to get the plus odds on Spain.
Yeah.
England versus Argentina. England is favored at -124. You can get Argentina at plus 106. Who are you going with for this match?
That is a very difficult call, and I'll try and take bias out of this. I think it's a draw on paper, and overall it could be won by the physicality of England in extra time. This is the team touted as the best, most physical midfield in the world, with Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, and Anderson in the midfield. And the point of players like that is that you go far in extra time. So I'm saying a potential draw with England winner in extra time, I believe. That might be a bit of heart in there. Hopefully we don't see a bit of Messi magic. I'm hoping.
All right, everybody, do us a favor. Comment below. Who do you think is going to win in the semifinal round? Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our future conversations. We've got 2 more coming up before the World Cup, or once the World Cup is done. We'll catch you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your week.